Hey guys, this video is for the 2nd through 4th grade team from March week 1. And our new theme for the month is Jump Ball, finding peace in the madness. And this month our theme is kind of all about basketball and March Madness, and our life app is peace, proving that you care more about each other than winning an argument. And this week for week 1, our story comes from the book of Genesis, and it's about Abram making peace. And the bottom line is prove that you care more about others by letting go of what's fair. And our memory verse for this month is, so let us do all we can to live in peace, and let us work hard to build up one another. Romans 14:19. So hopping over to our activities for the week, just make sure that you're here at 8:30 and 10:30 to be prepared, and take a few minutes to just pray for your small group. Make sure you've got everything ready, and just pray that kids would realize the downside of keeping track of what's fair, and that they would kind of start to get a leg up, because this is a huge deal to 2nd through 4th graders that things are fair, so that they would kind of start to mature to realize that other people are more important than what's fair. So just pray that kids would maybe get a grasp of that this weekend. And when kids start to roll in at 8:40 and 10:40, you're going to ask them to join their circle, ask about their week, make sure you know all their names, make sure you're helping any new students feel welcome. And then you can use these questions below as little icebreaker questions. So have they ever moved to a new place, and what was that like? Was it on the first day of school? What was the first day of school like for them this year? Were they scared or excited? Can they remember something that happened on the first day? Have they ever been the new kid, and what does that feel like? So especially if it's their first time, just kind of be aware. Don't make them feel awkward when it's their first time here being a new kid. So what you're going to do is you're going to have large pieces of construction paper on your carts, and you're going to give each kiddo a piece of construction paper, and you're going to say, all right, you guys are going to build a city. So let's think about, what are some things, if you could create your very own city, what are some things you would use in it? Would it have tall buildings? Are you going to have houses? Are you going to have parks or schools or libraries? In your city, do cars fly? You can make your city whatever you want, and just make sure they know they've only got about 10 minutes to work on their city. But say you guys don't need to finish, you're going to have a chance to finish when we get back after a large group. And so when you get ready to head down a large group, just say, okay guys, just leave your pictures just like they are. We're going to have time to finish when we get back. So, and then you'll just say, your guys' cities look awesome, and I definitely wish I could live there. And today in our Bible story, we're going to hear about two guys who had the opportunity to choose the land where they wanted to live and create their own community. So let's go find out what happened. So when you get to large group, just make sure that you sit with your group, worship with them, help them to see that, it's all about God when we worship, and it's not just singing and dancing, but we're really praising God, and help them to engage in the story. It's a great story this week. It's going to be super funny. So when you get back from large group, you're going to have kids sit behind their drawing that they did earlier, but before they start drawing, you're going to say, okay, take your drawing and pass it down one person to the right. And then once they have their new drawing, say, okay, you guys are going to finish someone else's city. So the city that you have now, that's what you're going to finish. So you can add anything that you want to the other person's drawing. And while you guys are adding stuff to your drawing, I'm going to ask you some questions. So let them draw and let them work on their friend's city. They're probably not going to be super happy about it. That's the whole point. And then you can ask them some of these review questions. So while they're drawing, say, okay guys, today's story was about Abram and Lot. Do you guys remember how they're related? So Lot was Abram's nephew. So they both had tons of sheep and herds and tents. And why was that a problem? There was just too many people and animals to stay together. So what happened to Lot because they were so close? Well, they started fighting. So Abram said to Lot, let's not have any more fighting. There's all this land around us. And who did Abram say could choose the land first? Did he say, well, I'm the oldest, so I'm going to choose the land first? No, he let Lot pick first. So why do you guys think Abram let Lot take the first choice? Well, he wanted to keep the peace. So Lot looked over the land and he said, oh, that area like over there, that's got really good water and looks like a good place to live. So Lot went east. And which way did Abram go? Yeah, he went west to Canaan. So when you finish those questions, have kids share their drawings with each other. They can give them back to the original creator. Say, so guys, how did it feel to have someone else finish the drawing that you started? Does it look like what you wanted it to look like? And does it seem fair to have somebody else finish your drawing? So say maybe you guys were a little frustrated that I let somebody else add to your drawing, and you're right, it wasn't really very fair of me, I'm sorry. And I would want to finish the drawing by myself too, but in the long run, what's more important? A drawing on a piece of paper or your relationship with a friend? Yeah, the friendship. So Abram understood this, and that's why he let Lot choose where he would live first. And that might not seem fair to us, but Abram just wanted to stop the fighting, and he just wanted to bring peace to the situation, especially since Lot was his family. And you can do what Abram did, and you can prove that you care more about others by letting go of what's fair. Besides, maybe your friend added something really cool to your city that you wouldn't have even thought about. And then maybe take a minute to make it personal and tell your group about a time when you chose to put someone and your relationship with them over what was fair, and see if you have a story about that. So then when it comes to the memory verse review, you're going to get out your new Bibles that are up on top, and you're going to have 4 sets of memory verse cards that are already cut apart for you in your group. So practice looking up Romans 14:19 together. Practice saying it with the motions. And then you're going to divide your group into 4 teams. If you don't have that many kids, then divide them into 2 teams or 3 teams, however many you want. And each team is going to get a set of these memory verse cards. And then they can open up a Bible to Romans 14:19. And they're going to shuffle their cards and then put them in a stack face down. And then the teams have to work with just one person at a time to put the memory verse cards in order. So while one person is working, the rest of the team cannot help. They can't say which goes first. They can only say encouraging things like, you're doing great, keep going, you've got it, come on, you can do it. But they can't give any clues. And the kid who's working, they can look in their Bible for help. And then every 10 or 15 seconds, you're going to say, switch. And then one of the kids is going to switch out with a fellow teammate by tapping someone new to keep working. Same rules apply. The kid who's working, they have to work to put the verse in order, but no one else can help them. So every 10 or 15 seconds, yell switch, let another kid come in. And then when one team finishes, have somebody from that team read the verse out loud from their cards to make sure that they did it all. So, and then make sure that you get all the memory verse cards back and put them back in the paper clip, because we're going to use these again next week. So really try to keep them together so that our supply prep team doesn't have to make more, and second service needs them anyway. So really try to keep these organized. So then you'll close by saying, great job, guys. Was it hard to have to switch players so fast? Would it have been easier to just do it on your own? So maybe it didn't seem fair to have to switch so often, especially when you felt like the person that was doing it was on a roll. But this verse tells us to do all that we can to live in peace. Even when things seem unfair or we think that something could be done better or faster, we need to work hard to build each other up and keep the peace. And one big way that we can keep the peace is to prove that we care more about others by letting go of what's fair. So if your group, if you've got some extra time and you just want to sit and chat, there's some extra discussion questions. You can kind of reread part of the story and talk about what went down in the story. So there's some great discussion questions, especially for our older kiddos or maybe our girl groups. And then you'll just close in prayer. So have kids gather together in a circle and remind them about their city drawings and how it felt unfair to have someone else finish them. And just challenge them to show peace this week and to choose that they care more about others than making things fair. Ask your kids if anyone wants to pray for your group about keeping the peace this week. And if no one else wants to, then you just huddle up and lead the prayer instead. So as adults come, have kids show them their city drawings and talk about what was unfair. Make sure all of the kids get a parent cue card and a memory verse card this week, especially since it's the first week of the month and none of them have it. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for being small group leaders. Everything we do at Oak Ridge Kids hinges on you all as small group leaders. You are just such a crucial role in all of this, and I just cannot thank you enough for your leadership and influence on these kids. So thank you so much for serving, and we'll see you on Sunday.